Hi, it's Joy, and today I'm going to be watching The Witcher Season 1, Episode 3, The Betrayer Moon, which is a very ominous title. Someone's going to get betrayed. If these are taking place in different timelines, is it going to be the same moon? Is that like, you know, I don't know, like we have the Harvest Moon or whatever? But no, I am just excited to watch this show. I am absolutely in love with it. I did get a comment on Patreon from Albert, thank you very much, saying that if I were to, the books and the show come before the games or something. So if I were to go into playing the games now, it would spoil stuff from the show, and the books would probably also spoil stuff from the show. So that is like really useful to know, because I was considering looking into them a bit more after the season, after I watched season 1. But what I think I will do now for my own sake is just wait, and then once the show has run its course, has had its, you know, 50 seasons of perfection, then I will look into like other mediums of the world, because I don't want to spoil the show because I'm loving it that much. I just want to get to know more about these characters in this world. I can't believe it's only been 2 episodes. I feel like I've got to have seen at least 3 or 4, you know, 3, 4, 5, be really in the meat of this season. And I think that's a really good sign, because it's only an 8-episode season. It's not a huge season. It's not like even like a 10, 12 season. It's only 8 episodes. But I already feel like we've had so much character development and so much of this world thrown at us, and I cannot wait to learn more. So a quick reminder, as always, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the unedited version of this episode up on my Patreon, along with all the shows I watch, and the next 2 episodes as well. So up to episode 5 is up on my Patreon right now, unedited. And you can also see the edited version a week early if you're on my Patreon. So YouTube's episode 4 is up already on my Patreon nice and early for the third tier. Words are hard. You can also sponsor me to watch shows if you go to my Patreon, and you can be around to vote on polls for future shows, so that shows like The Witcher get picked. But no, I am in love with this show. I'm so glad it came second on my poll, and I'm ready to get back in and see what Geralt and Ciri and Yennefer are up to, and everyone else. But you know, those 3 I feel like are the main characters of each of the plotlines at the present.
Babe, it starts growing.
Oh God.
Right. Swear
you're not our Witcher. Preparing myself for a jump scare. It's fast, whatever it is.
The Kikimora?
Are these all just... Do you know them from the Bard songs?
A friend of yours came through here last month, headed for Temeria.
Never came back.
Friend.
A wolf got him.
Your boy took the coin and ran.
It's not a way a Witcher would work, is it?
Don't judge me.
He does.
If anything happens to my horse, you don't scare me.
He should scare you. So the Bard isn't with him, but the Bard's running around singing his songs?
And they took back what was theirs.
Kind of revolution here.
I killed a Kudlak. So you decide to kill your king? Great
I love
plan.
him so much.
Another. Revenge will not ease your pain.
You should do justice if you're the king over the people that are lesser than you. Oh my God, he spat on him. Quick, kill him. Is it the king? Is the werewolf the king or the prince or the princess or something? Did Geralt do that? No. Oh, what's this?
You can put down your sword, and I don't want you to kill the beast. I want you to help me save it.
This is interesting. Who is it? What's happening? Tell me more. That is a good twist.
Good thing it's not a Vukodlak.
It's not a Vukodlak.
2,000 orens if you can tell me what exact.
This is, I love all the different kingdoms and their politics.
You let them believe that he fled with that coin.
They're smirching his name in the name of all witches.
Astriga.
A streak is old wives' tales.
We get to make the decisions be who we want to be.
Are they truly caring, or are they using each other still?
What's wrong?
Even change a single wrinkle before heading to court.
They have to make themselves look different, glamorous.
I want to go back home to Adrian and never be her again.
You've already progressed so far. I mean,
We remake ourselves on our terms. The world has no say in it.
as long as it's on your own terms. But it does seem to me to be fitting conventional beauty standards.
What about her lover?
Seditious rumors.
She's clearly pregnant. I love her so much. How easy would it be to assassinate this king? Just so calm.
But the moment I mentioned the girl's father,
Incest.
Perhaps his heiress would be more pliable. Princess.
Calanthe. Good luck with that.
Yes, so this is the first timeline. Then we have Geralt's timeline. Then we have Ciri's timeline. That's my understanding. Even without knowing that there were different timelines, I would think that.
Nilfgaard needs correcting.
They're gonna send Yennefer?
Perhaps we consider sending someone.
Sintra hates more than mages is elves.
Oof. Yeah, she didn't even go and tell her herself.
There's no power in puppeting fools, especially one who'd sooner fondle his sorceress than listen to her. I don't think the items came to light.
Oh, she fought for you.
I think the chapter.
It was your blood.
Their
Did
prejudice.
Sintra prevent the Brotherhood from
It was their
placing
prejudice.
elven blood in it?
You were told to leave Temeria.
But come on. These views.
Are you going to kill her?
Yes.
Pillar of your brooding charm.
This is like a lot of dark stuff has happened in this kingdom. To let it fall to wrack and ruin.
Voltus is the father.
Huh. Must maintain ignorance. Despite the crimes you have committed against the crown, you remain my only one, my little girl. Understand that you and Voltus may not see one another again. Your sin cannot be repeated. Voltus will take the crown without any transgressions.
Was Sansa involved in dark sorcery of any kind?
No, of course not. What was
Were
your
you?
relationship to Ada? There's only one wrinkle, though. Your scent was on her sheets.
Geralt.
Old ones.
Oh
and
god.
new one.
He seduced Ada,
Oh my god, so
abused his position.
there was
He was
incest
always nagging her
and...
for attention.
You could have just exposed the affair.
And hurt Ada.
You did hurt her, you killed her.
Yenna.
Get your hands away from me!
It was a test.
Do they make me more than my blood?
And you think this will?
My sweetheart, it's too late.
Together we can forge a whole new destiny.
You have betrayed her. A very personal betrayal.
You don't mean that.
Would it frighten you to know you're not privy to every one of my thoughts?
She has a very dark side to her, which is understandable because the world has beaten her down time and time again. And he was someone she trusted with everything.
My world is cruel, unpredictable. You enter, you survive, you die.
It's the world she's seen.
No heroism yours.
Well,
You're just angry because you lost your chance to be beautiful.
she's already beautiful.
Seen and adored with every.
Voltus! Leave your sister be.
Oh gosh, yes.
Show Madame de Vries some respect.
100% you can see that this was
What one
the past to now.
Thank you.
Is she going to not become an official one because she hasn't made the initiation oath?
I need time to prepare that.
I do feel for her because she's becoming harder and colder because she thinks that's what she has to do.
She'll need special care. She's lived as an animal. All she's ever known is rage and hunger.
Yep. You can't call her your daughter either. You have to call her your niece because I don't know that people will be like, incest!
For the princess. If I can, for the curse. A gift. This isn't my first time trying to save a princess who others see as a monster.
No,
What happened to that princess?
she's dead. I killed her.
I killed her.
But I'm gonna do my best not to kill yours.
Love casts long shadows.
Yes. Incest, in particular.
Never have to fall in love.
I don't know if he experiences emotions the same as us, but he also does seem to feel things sometimes. To an extent. I'm intrigued. I just want to know more about everything.
This is madness!
Yeah. Pretty cool
What are we doing
madness.
here?
She was hiding from the Brotherhood. She sold me a lamb. She told me to wait till the
Yennefer.
full moon to
Was it
waken
Yennefer?
them to kill it.
Hiding from the Brotherhood.
And then I recited some silly chant. Hermina.
Did he recognise it?
What is it? What more can I do?
Nothing. Unless you can keep a streaker out of her crypt until a fucking rooster crows 3 times.
You're gonna have to fight until dawn.
Oh god.
To be reborn, you will bear no more. Do you understand?
Did she know that already? I'm sure they told that at the beginning, that if you want to have this whole thing happen to you. Because not everyone wants to be a mother, and you can choose not to. And you can adopt if you do want children. There's lots of other ways.
Please!
You murdered someone.
Bound to die!
Oh gosh.
I lost your mother.
Oh, it's really scary. I don't like it. It's dark outside. Yeah, it wasn't gonna forgive you. This is a very scary creature. I mean, look, if you just calm down for a bit, you can get a kingdom out of it. Oh, how long will it hold her? Is it silver? Yeah, not long. Just make her angry. No, just made her angrier. Oh god. Oh god. Effective? I love seeing more of his abilities. Grab a rooster, make it crow. Oh god, that's creepy as anything. Behind you, above you. You will survive this and cause a princess to get cause a lot of drama, I'm sure, in your life, but you can survive this. Come on, Geralt. It's light. Is that enough? Is it done? Oh, he's getting it. That stand is slightly more human. God, this is traumatic. You did it. You saved this princess. But there's a girl in the woods in the future that needs you. Oh. Oh god. She's still wild. Oh my god. What future does this child have? This poor young woman. Well, you're not gonna die, I know that much, okay? Okay? Yes. Yeah, the minute I talked about transformations, I was like, yeah, I've seen someone who looks very similar to Yennefer on gift sets, and this is the other face I was waiting for. Like, this was the look I was waiting for.
Are you aware that I'm in the market for just such a mage?
On your lead, Your Excellence.
She got what she wanted. But I feel like she can end up on the run from the Brotherhood. And she's even got a dress that's the style she chose. She has made some enemies here. I mean, she was beautiful as she was, and she was perfectly capable of being supremely powerful as she was. But now the rest of the world will look at her and see someone that can wield that power, rather than looking at her and seeing someone less than. Now he's with it. Yeah, that hurts.
I'll take my coin now.
Oh, you need to rest, sweetheart. You do actually, your horse needs you, but they returned it.
Something out there waits for you.
It does. The girl in the woods.
Something more.
You alright, my love? Yep. You have got a world of trouble on your hands, my love. Oh. Oh my god. So whatever's summoning her wants her and not him. My god, this is terrifying. Don't get hit. Oh no. Oh, sweetheart. Both sweethearts. Is she somehow like Geralt's daughter? Is this to do with her magic, or is there something else in the woods that's summoning her? The girl in the woods. She's well and truly the girl in the woods right now. Stress. I'm in love with this show even more. Like, I can't describe how good it is to me. Like, I mean, I'm sure everyone else that watched it thought the same. I love fantasy, I love history, I love the historical world built up, like fictional historical worlds, fictional lands with kingdoms and customs and rulers and cultures and traditions. I love it. I love the real stuff and I love fictional stuff. So starting off with Geralt, this episode, we know that a little bit of time again has passed, so like between each episode with him some time passes. He seems to live for forever, if not for a very long time. And in that time the bard has gone around singing songs about him to the point where they've got popular. Now, I wasn't sure at the beginning when the woman, the prostitute, knew the songs, whether the bard were like in town singing them or whether he's just, the songs have spread so far and wide. Something like that has happened, but he's becoming a little bit more famous in a good way. He is still living job to job, slaying monsters for money in order to survive. He had to leave Roach behind, very tragic, but he'll go back for him. The whole concept of this episode, of coming to this, yet again, another kingdom, of seeing that it was being plagued by this beast, that the people, the rulers weren't doing anything about it, the people were feeling abandoned. I mean, this kingdom very much felt like one that was just being let to fall to ruin by its rulers. And when you go to the castle, which, you know, it's one thing if it's this great magnificent place where they're all having luxurious parties while everyone else suffers, but no, it's falling to rack and ruin. The king is eaten very well, and they're all dressed very fine, but the world around them is falling apart. And it seems to me as though when the king lost the love of his life, his sister, he gave up on life and let the castle fall apart, didn't really care about what happened to his people and just got on with it. Maybe he had some inkling that if whatever the creature was, that it was his daughter, that it was to do with the sister that died. But it's just so fascinating kind of to get another glimpse of yet another kingdom, of the starting off with the kind of the miners' village, and how the revolution was brewing because the king was abandoning them, and he was. You know, if Geralt, I don't know what the king would have done if Geralt hadn't been down. Maybe, I guess the sorceress would have found someone else, but yeah, like, oh, and again, you see propaganda in motion because they didn't tell them that the other witch had died. Like, they made them think he had just run off with the money. They portrayed it as the guy that murdered the princess, the guy that was a traitor, had bravely slain the beast, so for all time his memory will be this great thing. I presume that the king, if he wants her to be his daughter, he'll have to say, oh, I had an affair with a woman once and I've legitimised her now, you know, spin it like that, or he'll have to spin it as it being his niece, but that would potentially lead everyone to think she'd been the creature. I do wonder if we're ever going to come across this kingdom again in the future, maybe where the young woman has grown up. I presume that would be more in series time, if not a little later. I mean, her grandmother wasn't exactly old, so it's not like a super long time in the future from now. But actually, yeah, like her grandmother, yeah, so it's not that long in the future, because there's 3 timelines here. In, I've forgotten her name, I keep wanting to call her Renfrey. In Yennefer's time is when that king was a little boy, when Ciri's grandmother was the heir to the throne of the old king who was ailing a bit. I think we've already come through a fair bit of time within Geralt's time. I remember Renfrey saying that Queen Calanthe had just won her first battle. Then in this one, the little boy is now very much an elderly, well, not an elderly, a middle-aged man. And then in Ciri's time, her grandmother, who was the young heir leading armies for the first time, is now a grandmother with a granddaughter, etc. You know, there's 3 time periods here, but I don't even know where I'm going with that. Like, what was the start of my train of thought? But just seeing the kingdom, kind of seeing, like, the mother who, her children were incestuous, and then she tried to keep them apart, and, you know, she prioritised the son over the daughter very clearly, and wanted her to abort the baby, when you could have totally just, I mean, I feel like what a lot of people did in those days with unwanted pregnancies, not necessarily from incest, I don't know how common that was, but if a noble daughter got pregnant before marriage, she would kind of just disappear from life for a bit, go to a convent, have the baby would go off and live somewhere, you know, to avoid shame on all parts, but they would keep the baby alive. But I think it's interesting kind of psychologically there. I think, I'm not an expert in incest, but from my vague understanding, a lot of times it comes from families and homes where the brother and sister, or the siblings, are all they have, that they're like not, they're raised in a fairly sort of abusive kind of place. Now you wouldn't necessarily think that's a palace, maybe the mother was very overbearing, but the psychology of that, I mean, he did seem really upset about, maybe he didn't force her, but I don't know. The whole thing is messed up. I think the fact that the dude that murdered the princess was like, he seduced her, it's his fault, suggests that she didn't seem like someone that had been forced, but maybe she had, I don't know. But just in general, kind of, it's a very messed up situation through and through. I think maybe if the princess is ever fit to rule, that should happen ASAP. If not, we could get a different ruling family on the throne. But that kingdom needs a hell of a lot of work, both in its infrastructure, in its castle maintenance, in its royal family. They need to make sure that girl marries someone that is as distant, like marries into a royal family, if it has to be a royal family, that they have never married into before, you know, or a nobleman that's never been married into this before, because that girl's got enough problems without incest being thrown into it. But I liked the concept of it. I liked seeing one of these mates, seeing a sorceress, a mage there. We've obviously seen the Brotherhood, we know where Yennefer has been, that they send mages out to each court to kind of advise and assist rulers, try and keep them from getting too powerful or whatever. I liked sort of seeing one of them in action. I also thought it was interesting the fact that the lord who'd murdered the princess said that he was helped by a woman on the run from the Brotherhood. To me, that seems quite like it could have been Yennefer. I don't know whether she's going to immediately go on the run, or like the fallout of what she did I'll get to, or not, but it seems as though she could well be on the run at that point. And they were like 8, 9, 10-ish when we saw them, so I don't know how young she was, but they would sort of marry you off quite early. So the fact that the princess wasn't married off suggests that she could have even been a teenager when she died, or at least in her 20s. So that was only like 10, 20 years after Yennefer's plotline that the baby was born, and that Yennefer would have given him the information that cursed him. And I could see whoever it was, even if it wasn't Yennefer, though I kind of have a feeling it would be. I do wonder if the sorceress that gave him the magic knew it would affect the baby, knew there was a baby, knew it would affect the girl rather than the king, because he wanted to, from what he said, literally just curse the king, kill that, well, the heir maybe, but kill him so that his beloved girl, I mean, again, he seemed like a very creepy stalker man. He deserved to die a long time ago. He didn't seem to feel that bad that he'd murdered her either. Like, oh, well, shame, I wanted the king, but never mind. So just all of that was fascinating. Seeing another mage, hearing about this person, which seems to me like potentially Yennefer is going to go rogue. She's like, I mean, she's kind of already doing it. Maybe they will, like, to appease the king of Aden, they will sweep it under the rug. But just seeing that kingdom, it needs a heck of a lot of work. Any opportunity person could come and take it over, easy peasy. I feel like Nieflings, that's what they're called, right? You know, I know you're going to go there in a few years and conquer that kingdom, but there's a kingdom right here, right for the taking. I don't know geographically that it is anywhere near you, but regardless. But anyway, I loved Geralt's plotline. I love the fact that, yeah, when he was faced with a way to save the princess, he truly did try. He found the information and he did everything he could to maintain it. It would have been 10 times easier for him to be doing killing blows during that fight. You know, he probably could have killed her much earlier on in the fight, especially because unlike the other Witcher, he's Geralt, but he knew what he was up against. He knew the sort of things that would work and the sort of things that wouldn't. And just, I love the fact that, again, he seems to me to always straddle that line of emotions. He's not like he's full of emotions, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I feel like he has such subtle emotions that I don't believe he feels nothing. I think that potentially witches feel things in a different way to humans, maybe in a way that we interpret as feeling nothing, because it's not, we wear our feelings openly, you know, we are effusive with them, whereas maybe they're not in that way, or maybe Geralt's different for some reason. I feel like I'm reading more into it. It's very subtle, it's very well done. Henry Cavill is amazing in his role. I'm not that he's not been amazing in all his other roles, but you know what I mean. I just, I love Geralt, and I enjoyed his sort of back and forth with the sorceress woman. I'm sorry, I can't remember what her name was, because they each would ask each other questions and they would just not respond to them. You know, like, what's your personal stake here? She would be like, what, why are you here? Why are you still doing it? Like, they didn't answer anything. We've seen that Renfrey is very much staying with him. She kind of told him she would. Although the girl in the woods, the princess in the woods, I mean, maybe she meant herself, but given that old Ciri has been told to look for him and she's endlessly in woods, I think it's her. So no matter what, it was another brilliant episode of him, another strong character development. We've seen that he's got just everything. I love the way he has about him, his manner. It's just so good. He's so funny at times and just good and honest and straight. Like, he just does the right thing as much as he can, and I'm just really, really enjoying watching his story. So then Yennefer, the other main plotline of this episode. The whole concept of the transformation is hard because I totally understand, you know, it's kind of like what Mayanna Bering's character, the sorceress lady, said, that everyone looks in the mirror and doesn't like what they see. You know, one of the hardest things I find by making these videos is the fact that when I'm editing I have to see my face so much. But no one, I'm a firm believer in no one having to look a certain way, that you should dress the way you want to dress. You should do your hair the way you want to do your hair. If you really, truly for yourself want plastic surgery, by all means, I support your right to have it. But I do think we currently live in a society where a lot of women, especially when they're getting older, get plastic surgery because they feel society's pressure on them rather than because it's what they truly want. And that's not directly related, but I think like the whole concept of the transformation, I liked the fact that it seemed, oh, I don't like the fact, but at least it seemed like the other girls didn't really change anything. Maybe they made subtle differences to their appearance for the camera, but they basically looked the same as they had before. They just dressed more glamorously than they did in their little, like, novice robes. But, so for someone like Yennefer, just because you're born different, just because you're born disfigured, or as people call disfigured, it doesn't mean you're not beautiful. Her face was still lovely. She had the same spirit she has now. So I don't believe she should have had to change that to get people to take her seriously, but then I can also see that, especially in a medieval world, no one is going, like, that king would have been a bit like, you want me to take this one? I know she's from my kingdom. Are you sure she's from my kingdom? You know, he wouldn't have been so sure about her with her looking that way. And we saw the impact she had on the room when she was this stunning, beautiful woman, that she just exuded that power and confidence that she'd imagined herself to look like. But, you know, she did look like the most strong, beautiful woman in the room, and that is a much, when you're beautiful, as it's true in the real world, it is much easier to get what you want. It's much easier to be seen as a good person, to be seen as powerful. I know there have been studies, haven't there, where they've, you know, shown two people and said, one of them has committed this terrible crime, which one was it? And there was like a traditionally beautiful person and then a not traditionally beautiful, like an ugly person, and people more and more said that the beautiful person was innocent and the ugly person probably did it, because that's just, our brains are wired that way for some stupid reason. So I do kind of understand that, and I can also understand that, again, like, if Yennefer had probably dreamt all of her life of changing how she looked, and yes, it would be nice to have this fairy tale where she was able to reach the point of looking, of feeling good about who she was without needing to change. In a medieval society, I think that would have been quite a rare thing to find, especially when her dick of a boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, was like, Istrid was like, oh, you know, you'll never feel like you deserve to be beautiful. But like, it did seem like at least not the rest of them basically looked the same. So for all of their, like, everyone who leaves here looks like a perfect specimen, and then all those girls on Istrid were like, I shall remain the same. God, the things that I like, have a few very minor things that I'd like. I mean, they're very minor, more because I don't want to change my face. I don't particularly like it, but like, I don't want to like look like a different person. But I'd be like, well, this is like, I have things I change about myself. If only we could just change our metabolisms. But anyway, but for Yennefer, I think she will now be able to take what she wants from the world, take back some of what was taken from her. She scares me a little bit just because she is a character that has been treated so horribly for so long, been pushed down for so long, that she does have this burning desire for power, for greatness, to prove everyone wrong, to prove to herself that she is the best, and even to get a little bit of payback. I feel like she could march back into that village and cause some misery on those people that did that, to used to treat her so poorly. I think her heart is good, I think her intentions are good, but there is every chance that she could get swayed towards a darker path of personal vengeance or just power hungriness, because anyone that gets pushed down can, but I'd like to think she's going to rise through that. And I think she's made herself look the way she feels inside. Inside, she is a strong, powerful, beautiful woman, and now she looks like it too. So while I kind of think like I wish she didn't have to change, I do kind of understand why she would, and especially as she probably always would have wanted to deep down look different. All of us that have things about our bodies we don't like, we wish we could change them. I don't love the concept of in order to make you look different, we have to take away your womb. You can't have babies. Like, how many plot lines do there have to be of women who lose the ability to have children? I'd like to think that's not going to come up again, but I feel like it probably will at some point, because like Black Widow was all like, I cannot have children, therefore I'm a monster, which, no, like you could think you were a monster because you were raised to be an assassin and killed lots of people. That could, we're not getting into that right now, but I think like it's quite a cheap thing, because it wasn't, so did they take Istrid's sperm away and do his transformation? You know, it's magic. She's not being reborn. I know it's how they're seeing it. So I'm not the biggest fan of that. I'm also not like cursing that. I think it's not necessary. And I mean, women in true life will be very young and can lose the ability to have children. Some women just cannot have children. It's a very big issue. So I don't know that it needs to constantly be put into worlds like this in that manner. So I just whacked my desk to prove my point. But for Yennefer, I think it was so lovely at the beginning to see how happy she was. How she, you know, she had completed her training, her schooling. She was becoming this powerful sorceress. She was going to get to look exactly how she wanted, have everything she dreamed, go back to her kingdom and show them who she really was. She had her, like, her, I can't remember her character's name, the sorceress lady's respect, you know, she was her favourite. And then the council. From nepotism, I think the mixture of why they chose to send her to Niefling and the other girl to Aiden was nepotism from the uncle. It was because she had elf blood and they looked down on that, and that's an excuse. But it was also, I think, Strigobor, I believe this is Strigobor, getting one over on my Anna Bering's character. Like, being able to be like, that's your favourite, she's not going to the place, she's going to go suffer in that place. Which nepotism is a thing that happens in every single society today. And so is men trying to get one over women, or just people and their rivals, but it's definitely a man thing. And I love the fact that Yennefer just took back her own power and her own agency. You know, she got what she wanted. She suffered through it. I do think she had more than enough time to get those herbs she needed, but she suffered through it. She sacrificed everything that was asked of her for the moment, and she proved a powerful point to them. I don't know what's going to happen, because part of me feels like the council might just be like, yes, this is one of our new mages, we weren't going to send her to you because she wasn't quite ready, but if you want her, okay, everything's to try and like keep a good face with the king and all the other rulers that are there. I could see them trying to stay with her and keep track, and so maybe it's someone else that's a mage running around helping people curse princes. But I also think that it could be maybe the start of a break between them, but it's very interesting that the rest of them had to make those oaths where she missed the initiation ceremony. So altogether she just didn't make the oath. She didn't say the vows, so she's technically not part of the Brotherhood. So I'm just very interested to see where her story's going to go next. I think it could take a dark path, but I'd like to think that ultimately Yennefer's inner goodness is going to stop her going too dark. Like, maybe she'll go down a dark path in the same way that a lot of women in history and old literature went down, became evil by simply being women that didn't just do whatever men wanted them to. Then we also have, last of all, Ciri. We didn't see much of her, of course, but she's obviously still with, I wrote down his name as Darren, but like D-A-R-O-N, Darren. I want someone to pronounce it again so I can be sure of that. But elf boy, who, they've got a bond, I like them. The fact that I think that she was so kind to him and then accepted him when he was an elf is important. But so she was woken from sleep and she heard the woods whispering her name. Now there's various different options here. There is the option that these woods are secretly some sort of magical creature or being there that lures young girls, is in the woods calling her. It's something in those woods calling to her magic, the reason she's got these powers. There are just lots of different reasons about what could be happening there, but she's going in there alone. He does not seem to be able to come and join her. She does not seem to be of her own free will and free, so I'm very worried about Ciri and what's going to happen there. Hopefully it's better than the Niblings and Eeflings, I can't remember, I've been calling them the wrong things the whole time. Hopefully it's better than them finding her, I don't know, but I cannot wait for the next episode. A quick reminder that if you are on YouTube, you can see the unedited version of this reaction up on my Patreon, along with all of my shows and the next 2 episodes, so Patreon gets the unedited ones 2 weeks ahead of YouTube. Also up on Patreon is the edited YouTube version a week early, if you'd like to get earlier and talk about it with me, I'd love that. Also you can vote for new shows and sponsor shows and things on Patreon as well. And I'm thinking what I'm probably going to end up doing is watching the show in a binge, and probably the boys, just because some weeks there are weeks where I just don't feel up to recording, and if that happens I don't want to not deliver. So I will probably be watching a couple of weeks ahead of the shows, but they'll still be coming out once a week. So just there's a chance that if in a comment you tell me something and then in the next video I still don't know it, it's just because I filmed it ahead of time. It's not me ignoring your comments. I love every single comment I get. But yeah, I am in love with this show. Thank you so much for watching.